This tutorial will illustrate how to create a new recipe. Recipes may be used to store user preferences for a variety of settings throughout TotalVu. Once the recipe is configured, all the preferences may be set simultaneously on recipe load. Open Full Configuration by pressing TotalVu on the main application window and select Full Configuration. Then enter Recipes. Execute Add Recipe/Template. The first selection to appear is the global Spec Limit Display mode. Specification limits will either display as an absolute value with respect to the true dimension or as a relative value with respect to the nominal. This selection will apply to all recipes and may be changed later if desired. If the host measurement is used for control loop feedback, your warning limits will become the deadband limits, and your nominal will be the set point. If you do not want to see this selection next time you create a new recipe, check the box to the left of Don't Show This Again. Make your selections and press Continue. If you would prefer to make a template from your indicated selections, select the radio button to the left of Template. Otherwise, select Recipe. If you have already created the template that you want to base this recipe on, select it in the drop-down below Template. If you want to organize your recipes using subfolders, use the drop-down to select a previously defined subfolder to place this recipe in, or enter a new one by typing in the blank. Enter the recipe name you will use to refer to this recipe. Any existing recipes will be displayed below for reference. When complete, click Next. There are 11 categories available for custom settings that will be specific to this recipe. Most recipes are created only for specification limits. Each added specification limit may apply to any number of measurements. You may also add multiple specification limits. To add a new specification limit, click on Specifications and then Add Specification. Type in a name for your new specification limit. Enter the values for your new specification. The default entries include upper spec limit, the nominal, and the lower spec limit. You may also specify reasonable and/or warning limits by placing a check in the box to the left of the desired option. All limits will be indicated throughout the program using their respective highlighted color here. If you have elected to use reasonable limits, you may keep measurement values that exceed these limits from ever being reported by checking the box to the left of Reject Unreasonable. Keep in mind this rejection will be based on what the final measurement value would have been and will include any measurement averaging. If you wish to filter out unreasonable scan values before averaging, watch the tutorial Adding a Measurement starting at 4 minutes and 30 seconds and check the box next to Discard Rejected Scans. Also, if using reasonable limits, you may elect to continue to include measurement values that exceed these limits as part of out-of-spec statistics by checking the box to the left of Treat Upper Reasonable Limit/Lower Reasonable Limit as out-of-spec. If all your limits are symmetric about the nominal, you may enter only the upper limit or limits, check the box next to Symmetrical Tolerances, and TotalVu will calculate the lower limit or limits for you. Select one or more measurements to apply these specification limits to out of the list below. click on each desired measurement and press Add. Then press OK. Repeat this process for any more specification limits you may have by pressing Add Specification. You may also select custom settings in any of the other categories below to be saved to this recipe. When complete, click Finish. Exit Recipes and close Full Configuration. To load your new recipe, press TotalVu on the main application window and select Recipes. Browse for and select your new recipe and press Load. With your recipe loaded, note that the active recipe name is indicated in the title bar on the main application window. With measurements running, watch how breached limits are indicated by changing from green to yellow, red, and gray, from nominal to warning, specification, and reasonable limits, respectively. Thank you for watching. This has been Tutorials by Joel.